This is a transition on Atlantic Television Network. Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit instituted against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, challenging the March 18, 2025 proclamation of a state of emergency in Rivers State. The declaration of the state of emergency by Tinubu led to the suspension of the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly for 6 months, and also led to the appointment of an administrator who took charge of running the affairs for the said period. Delivering judgment in a suit filed by Belema Briggs and 4 others against the emergency rule, Justice Omotosho held that the 5 plaintiffs lacked the legal power to institute the case, adding that such a case as constituted can only be determined by the Supreme Court. In the judgment on Thursday, the court held that none of the 5 plaintiffs claimed to be members of the State Executive Committee, members of the House of Assembly, or suffered any injury greater than the rest of the people of Rivers State, while the court held that none of the plaintiffs claimed to have the fiat of the Attorney General of the state to initiate the case. Besides, Justice Omotosho said the claim of President Tinubu to impose the state of emergency was avoided and regarded as a looming breakdown of law and order that was not challenged or disputed by the plaintiffs, stressing that the claim of breach of fundamental rights by the plaintiffs against Tinubu did not hold water because the appropriate law on emergency rule order was invoked by Tinubu to save the unpleasant situation. Justice Omotosho also said the case was frivolous and baseless because the mandate of other people of Rivers State was not obtained before instituting it on their behalf. Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has struck out a suit filed by the chairman and members of the Rivers State Local Government Service Commission, who were appointed by Governor Siminalayi Fubara but later removed by the former sole administrator Ibok Ete Ibas. The claimants, Reverend Goodlife Idioku Ben, Amadi Christian Echele, Chimenem Wisdom, Jerome, and 3 others had approached the courts to challenge what they described as their unlawful removal and replacement with another chairman and members of the commission. When the matter came up for judgment on Thursday, counsel to the claimants, Kelechi Ubani, informed the court of a notice of discontinuance filed at the last request of his clients, adding that his clients made what he called a painful decision to withdraw the suit in the interest of peace and progress in the state. However, counsel to the 1st to 12th defendants opposed the motion and urged the courts to dismiss the case instead of striking it out. In his ruling, presiding Judge Justice Frank Unyiri dismissed the defendants' objection, describing their motion as baseless, and while citing relevant legal authorities in the support of the claimants' application, Justice Unyiri struck out the suit under Order 25 Rule 1, and the court, however, declined to award costs or to dismiss the case as requested by the defendants. Still on Rivers State, government through the Ministry of Justice has taken over the prosecution of 2 men accused of killing 2 children. This is coming after Anyekan Sunday and his native doctor Kingsley Opurum are facing the 3-count charge bordering on conspiracy, and the mother of 2 minors who were siblings around Urukboko community in Obiakpo local government area of the state. When the matter came up in court, the trial judge, Justice Rita Ogwogo, after the Chief Principal Counsel from the Ministry of Justice, Precious Odu, declared his appearance but declined to have the charge read or a plea taken due to the absence of defense counsel. Justice Ogwogo also ordered that the accused persons be remanded at the Port Harcourt Correctional Center before the case was adjourned till October 16, 2025 for a plea and possible commencement of a trial. Deputy Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in Imo State, Ugochimerezi Chinedu Azuzu, has died after reportedly slumping in the early hours of Wednesday. His death was confirmed in a statement by the party's State Publicity Secretary, MacDonald Amadi, who described it as a big loss to the ADC and Nigerian society. The statement said Azuzu, a native of Umuma Isiaku in Idieto South local government area, was known for his roles as convener of Ikoro Indigbo and founder of Igbo Intelligentsia Resonance, a platform that promoted cultural renewal and intellectual engagement. He was also the national leader of I Stand With ADC, a coalition support group for democratic participation, while the party described him as a loving husband, devout father, and mentor who inspired many across religious and secular circles. We head to Anambra State, where Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has approved 100% implementation of the consolidated health salary structure for health workers in the state with immediate effect. The CONHES 2024 refers to the consolidated health salary structure for health workers in Nigeria, and the structure outlines enhanced salary scales for various health professionals, including nurses and nurse anesthetists, psychiatrists, pharmacy technicians, community health technicians, physiotherapists, medical laboratory scientists, as well as medical laboratory technicians, dental therapists, and radiographers. The CONHES salary scale ranges from CONHES 07 to CONHES 15, with corresponding monthly salaries from 80,000 naira to 350,000 naira. A letter dated October 2, 2025 and issued from the Office of the Head of Service titled 100% Implementation of Consolidated Health Workers Salary Structure, CONHES, signed by the Head of Service, Dame Theodore Igwebe. All relevant bodies were directed to commence implementation without delay, while the Accountant General of the State and the Accountant General for Local Government are to ensure the immediate execution of the directive. The state government further called on all concerned parties to disseminate the content of the statement and ensure strict compliance, adding that the initiative forms part of the state government's efforts to boost primary health care delivery by deploying qualified personnel to communities. Lagos State government has now reaffirmed its leadership role in the adoption of sustainable urban development and green building practices in the country. The special advisor to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on Electronic Geographic Information System and Urban Development, Olajide Babatunde, who disclosed this at a workshop organized by the Green Building Council Nigeria in Lagos. Delivering a keynote address on behalf of the special advisor, the senior special assistant to the governor on urban development, Segun Williams, highlighted Lagos's proactive role in climate-responsive urban growth, adding that the dialogue aligns with our commitment to supporting the adoption of sustainable development, green energy, and green building practices in Lagos. He further said Lagos's role as a pioneer in driving scalable solutions and highlighted the importance of urgent, unified action, adding that as Nigeria prepares to present its climate progress at the COP30, while the state government is calling for collective efforts to transform Nigeria's built environment into a driver of sustainability and resilience. We head to Osun State chapter of the All Progressive Congress APC, where it has criticized Governor Ademola Adeleke over the alleged extrajudicial killings of youth in Akinlalu, Ife North local government area by operatives of Osun and Moteku Corps. The party alleged that the state government had failed to address the killings, which occurred on September 30, the eve of Independence Day, and accused the governor of diverting public attention with claims over local government allocations. A statement signed by the Osun APC Director of Media and Information, Kola Olabisi, the party said the people of Akinlalu were mourning the deaths of several young residents allegedly killed by Moteco operatives, adding that the incident occurred when Moteco operatives reportedly invaded Akinlalu community in retaliation for 2 pump-action guns allegedly snatched from their men by unknown persons. Security network, also known as Amoteco, came in large numbers and invaded Akinlalu community with 2 official patrol and 1 private vehicle. And during the invasion, they shot sporadically, causing serious bullet injuries on 3 persons. While the police further confirmed that 3 persons lost their lives during the shooting, and their corpses have now been taken away by Amoteco operatives. The APC, while expressing disappointment that Governor Adeleke had not taken action to ensure justice for the victims, alleged that the government had instead mobilized its supporters to spread falsehood about local government funds to divert attention from the killings, and also accused the state government of diverting over 84 billion naira belonging to local government, claiming that more than 60 billion naira had been spent on the governor's office in the last 3 years, and further alleged that some key government officials had visited the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, headquarters over contract scandal and mismanagement of TED fund and UBEC funds. A statement by the Commissioner of Police, CP Ibrahim Gotan, and issued by the command spokesperson, Abiodun Ojelabi, the police said information obtained from one chief, Oyibamiji Kamorudin of Akinlalu indicated that the invasion by Amoteku Osun personnel was reportedly a retaliatory operation following the alleged snatching of 2 pump-action guns from operatives by unidentified persons. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has unveiled the installation of integrated solar street lights in Abuja as part of the Light Up Abuja project to enhance security in the FCT. The project flagger follows the signing of memorandums of understanding with Chinese companies CCECC and CGC in September 2024 during Wike's visit with President Bola Tinubu to attend the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit. A statement by the former Director of Press in the Office of the Minister, Antonio Gunleye, the minister said the projects were said to be completed in time for the 50th anniversary of the creation of the FCT in February 2026, adding that he hoped to make Abuja shine like other global cities. Speaking during the unveiling on Thursday, Wike acknowledged the challenges of providing the lightning infrastructure in the territory and warned against repeated cases of sabotage and vandalism of previously installed streetlights. The minister also said both companies will be responsible for the maintenance and security of the streetlights for the next 4 to 5 years, as stated in the signed MOU. Nathaniel Shaibu. Troops of 6th Brigade Nigerian Army Sector 3 Operation Wild Stroke have successfully foiled a terrorist attack and killed 2 suspected terrorists in Taraba. A statement by Let Omar Mohammed, Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, 6th Brigade Nigerian Army, Jalingo, said while acting on credible intelligence, troops on October 1, 2025, advanced to Tor Ikegeba village where bandits were reported to be converging, and during the operation the following items were recovered: 1 locally fabricated pistol, 2 Dane guns, 3 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition, 1 Baofeng radio, 1 motorcycle, and other items. He quoted Brigadier General Kingsley Unwa, commander of the brigade, and commended the troops for their swift response, resilience, and professionalism, while urging the troops to maintain the momentum and assured residents of the state that the brigade remained fully committed to ensuring their safety. Wives and relatives of soldiers detained at the 7th Division Military Police Facility in Maiduguri, Borno State, are appealing to President Bola Tinubu to grant them a presidential pardon. A statement signed by their leader, Ms. Roselle David and Ms. Abigail Jonathan, the families acknowledged the offenses of the detained soldiers but pleaded that they be given a second chance, and argued that if the federal government could extend amnesty to repented Boko Haram members and bandits. We also appeal to the National Assembly, the Executive Governor of Borno State, and all Nigerians of goodwill to support the plea to strengthen the bond of trust between the nation and those who defend it. You're watching The Transition on Atlantic Television Network. We'll return after this break. Please stay with us.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back. This is Atlantic Television Network Transition. Now the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has called on the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, and other key stakeholders to establish an endowment fund dedicated to the maintenance and sustainability of the the newly inaugurated National Arts Theatre, which has now been christened the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and Creative Arts. Tinubu made the appeal on Thursday in Lagos during the official reopening of the historic facility following extensive renovations, and in his remark, the president urged Nigerians to shun negativity and embrace a spirit of unity and optimism about the country's future. The president commended the organizers of the event and expressed delight at the rebirth of the iconic cultural hub, and also pledged to personally contribute to the proposed endowment fund, stressing that such an initiative would guarantee the theater's upkeep, create jobs, and ensure its long-term accessibility. Speaking at the ceremony, Cardoso said the Bankers Committee had invested about 68 billion naira into the renovation of the theatre, while describing the project as a testament to what collective action between the public and private sectors could achieve. Adding that the initiative went beyond corporate social responsibility, describing it as a deliberate investment in Nigeria's cultural and creative future. Cardoso also paid tribute to the late Herbert Wigwe for his passion and imagination in driving the vision, and expressed appreciation to Lagos State and other ministries for their support, while Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy Hannatu Musawa underscored the strategic role of the creative industry in Nigeria's economic diversification agenda under President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Vice President Kashim Shettima has now returned to Abuja after representing President Bola Tinubu at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York and high-level engagements in Germany. The Vice President's aircraft touched down at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, in the early hours of Thursday, where he was received by senior government officials. During the week-long engagement, Shettima delivered the president's national statement at the UNGA, calling for comprehensive reforms of the global body, adding that to achieve peace and development, Nigeria must have a permanent seat at the UN Security Council as part of a wider process of institutional reform. He also said the urgent action to promote sovereign debt relief and access to trade and financing, adding that countries that host minerals must benefit from those minerals. He also advocated Africa's sovereignty over its estimated $700 billion mineral resources and strengthened Nigeria's partnership with the United Kingdom, the Gates Foundation, and other international stakeholders. We'll go on a quick break. When we get back, we'll continue with the rest of our reports. Please stay with us.
These are exciting times for broadcasting in Africa. The National Broadcasting Commission is set to host the 14th Biennial Conference and Exhibition of African Broadcasters, Africast 2025 in Lagos, Nigeria. Participants will experience a week of world-class expositions showcasing the very best in creativity, innovation, and cutting-edge broadcasting technological advancement and trends in the global broadcast media ecosystem. Theme: Navigating the Digital Surge, Building a Resilient Africa Media Ecosystem for the Future. Date: Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th, 2025. Venue: Balmoral Convention Center, Sheraton, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Time: 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Visit www.africastexpo.com or email info@nbc.gov.ng. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Announcer, Management. These are exciting times for broadcasting in Africa. The National Broadcasting Commission is set to host the 14th Biennial Conference and Exhibition of African Broadcasters, Africast 2025 in Lagos, Nigeria. Participants will experience a week of world-class expositions showcasing the very best in creativity, innovation, and cutting-edge broadcasting technological advancement and trends in the global broadcast media ecosystem. Theme: Navigating the Digital Surge, Building a Resilient Africa Media Ecosystem for the Future. Date: Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th, 2025. Venue: Balmoral Convention Center, Sheraton, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Time: 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Visit www.africastexpo.com or email info@nbc.gov.ng. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Announcer.
back. You're still tuned in to Atlantic Television. Transition now, the rest of our report. As Nigeria marked its 65th independence anniversary celebration, governors across the federation, lawmakers, activists, and clerics reflected on the nation's journey since 1960, urging citizens to remain united, resilient, and willing to make sacrifices for true nationhood. While acknowledging Nigeria's democratic resilience and modest gains, the leaders stressed the need for collective resolve to tackle insecurity, corruption, and economic hardship, and the further preach hope and sacrifice. Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani, in his message on his verified Facebook page, said Nigerians must draw inspiration from the struggles of the founding fathers, while Kebbi State Governor Nasser Idris called for prayers and repentance as part of national rebirth. Enugu State Governor Peter Mba urged Nigerians to be patient with current reforms, while in Edo, Governor Monday Okpeolo described independence as a reminder of the sacrifices of Nigeria's heroes, while pledging to continue expanding infrastructure and youth opportunities. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, represented by Deputy Governor Bayo Lawal, stressed the need for unity across ethnic and religious divides, while Sokoto State Governor Ahmed Aliyu warned that peace would remain elusive without joint effort against banditry. Ogun State Governor Dakpo Abiodun described the anniversary as a historic milestone and emphasized collective responsibility, while Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa commended President Bola Tinubu's reforms, and Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke stressed on the respect for the rule of law. Troops of Operation Fansan Yaman have fought several terrorist attacks as well as killed 2 fighters and rescued kidnapped victims in separate operations across Sokoto and Kebbi states. A statement in a post shared on X by security analyst Zagazola Makama on Thursday said troops of 8th Division Garrison moved after terrorists attacked fishermen near Mudachi village in Isa local government area of Sokoto, and the gunmen fled immediately after sighting the soldiers. In another incident, about an hour later, troops responded to an attack in Badgaja village, also in Isa local government, where the terrorists had killed 1 local. 3 other residents were rescued during the operation, adding that 8 kidnapped victims who had scattered for safety during the gun battle were later rescued by the troops. Key member of the opposition coalition African Democratic Congress ADC, Atiku Abubakar, has given a condition to step aside for a younger presidential candidate in 2027. The former vice president who disclosed this said his interest in the 2027 race is not about personal ambition, but about providing a credible alternative to rescue Nigerians, stressing that he would fully back qualified candidates if picked to contest for the presidency. Atiku denied claims that he is desperate for the seat of the president, declaring that he is only interested in rescuing Nigeria from the people that have held it hostage. Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has assured the European Union EU that while some of its recommendations after the 2023 general election have been implemented, others have been attended to by the various stakeholders affected. Chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who disclosed this at a meeting with the European Union EU election observation follow-up mission to Nigeria in Abuja on Thursday, led by its head and member of the European Parliament, Mr. Barry Andrews. Also in attendance was the EU ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Gutia Mignot, the team lead and other experts on the follow-up mission. The meeting was basically to monitor the implementation of the EU recommendations halfway between the last and the forthcoming general election, adding that of the 30 recommendations made by the EU EOM in 2019, 11 were specifically addressed to INEC, while 3 of the recommendations were identified as priority, while 8 were categorized as general. He said the remaining 65.2% recommendations, of which 5 were categorized as priority, require action by other entities in the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, as well as political parties and multiple stakeholders such as civil society organizations, the media, and professional bodies. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has recovered 364.5 billion naira and $326.5 million crime proceeds between 2023 and 2024. The commission said the recoveries, which it described as unprecedented, were complemented by extensive monitoring of government intervention funds, including the PLCNG scheme, NG Cares, NACA Global Fund, CSET, AMCON loans, and various Central Bank of Nigeria facilities such as COVID-19 support schemes and conversion loans with 15% cover. During the same period, the EFCC said it recovered 15,724 petitions, investigated 12,928 of them, and filed 5,081 cases in court and secured 4,171 convictions, while 2,348 cases remain pending, stressing that its operations go beyond curbing internet fraud to protecting national assets and ensuring that critical intervention funds reach their intended beneficiaries. The Commission also said all recoveries and convictions were secured under strict adherence to due process and judicial oversight, a factor it said has strengthened public confidence in its operations, and further described the achievement as evidence of its expanding influence in safeguarding Nigeria's financial system, with many noting that its performance reaffirms the country's leadership in Africa's anti-graft fight at a time of persistent challenges from corruption, mismanagement, and economic sabotage. Detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has written a formal petition to the Nigeria Medical Association alleging manipulation of his medical records and negligent treatment while in the custody of the Department of State Services. The petition conveyed through his legal team was titled "Grave Concerns regarding my medical treatment and health management in DSS custody. Request for urgent intervention, protection of independent practitioners, and immediate release of NMA medical assessment report. Urged the NMA to investigate allegations of record manipulation, protect independent practitioners, particularly Emeritus Professor Martin Agaji, who he credited with saving his life, and ensure immediate release of the NMA medical team's report of September 22, 2025, which a federal high court ordered to be filed within 4 days. Recounting his arrest in Kenya before his rendition to Nigeria, Kanu alleged brutal treatment and denial of basic medical rights, which had left him gravely weakened before his transfer to Nigeria. Kanu also alleged that upon arrival in Nigeria, tests revealed life-threatening potassium deficiency, but claimed DSS appointed doctors falsified subsequent results, and further accused DSS doctors of breaching medical ethics, stressing that falsification of medical record is a grave violation of ethics, while the intimidation of independent physicians undermines patient care and public trust, and also medications breached the principle of informed consent. We head to some business reports. Federal government has urged divestment by international oil companies to about 200,000 barrels per day to Nigeria's crude production, boosting efforts to stabilize the sector. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Henneken Lukbobri, who disclosed this in Cape Town, South Africa, while delivering a keynote address on behalf of President Bola Tinubu at the Africa Energy Week, said the divestment had already unlocked over $5.5 billion in fresh investments within months. Lukbobri, in a statement issued by his Special Assistant on Media and Communication, Nnamaka Okafor, on Thursday, said the Tinubu administration was committed to building a transparent, stable, and investor-friendly petroleum sector to attract long-term capital, while over the past 3 years, major IOCs such as Shell, ExxonMobil, and Chevron have been offloading their offshore and shallow water assets as part of a global strategy to focus operations on deep water The minister said Nigeria is open for business and actively pursuing policies that prioritize investment efficiency and long-term growth in the oil sector, and further outlined the bold policy measures implemented under Tinubu's administration, particularly the Petroleum Industry Act, which provides a clear and predictable fiscal and regulatory environment for investors. Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited Group Chief Executive Officer Bashir Ojulari has lamented the crude and gas production losses resulting from the 3-day strike carried out by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria. In a letter written to the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Ojulari said the suspended strike led to 16% oil production and 30% marketed gas losses, while the nation suffered a 20% power supply shortfall. The National Oil Company's letter dated 29 September 2025, entitled Impact Assessment of Ongoing Industrial Action, was also sent to the National Security Advisor and the Director General, Department of State Services, stressing that the industrial action caused by a rift between the union and the Dangote refinery forced the shutdown of major oil terminals, gas plants, and power facilities, leading to the deferment of 283,000 barrels of crude oil per day and 1.7 billion standard cubic feet of gas daily. This is coming after the leadership of the union declared the suspension of the nationwide strike against Dangote Petroleum Refinery following the intervention of the federal government, and also cautioned that the truce remained temporary and could be revisited if the pending issues were not addressed. Meanwhile, Pengasan, the leadership said the decision to temporarily suspend the nationwide strike was taken out of respect for federal institutions and government's mediation efforts, stressing that it was not a show of confidence in Dangote. According to the international payment data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Nigeria spent a total of $2.86 billion servicing external debt in the first 8 months of 2025, which accounted for 69.1% of the country's total foreign payment of $4.14 billion in the period. In the same 8-month stretch of 2024, debt service stood at $3.06 billion, representing 70.7% of total foreign payment of $4.33 billion, as well as the absolute value of debt service fell by $198 million between 2024 and 2025, adding that the share of debt in over foreign payments has remained persistently high, with about 7 out of every $10 leaving the country used to meet debt obligations. The monthly breakdown highlights the volatility of Nigeria's repayment schedule, and the month-on-month trends in 2025 further underline the erratic nature of the payments, and the high ratio of debt service to total foreign payments highlight Nigeria's vulnerability, as nearly 3/4 of its international outflow are being channeled into debt payments rather than critical imports to or investments. The agency also cited a minor delay in the payment of a European bond coupon due on March 28, 2025 as a reflection of persistent challenges in public finance management, adding that also Nigerians' external debt service remains within manageable levels. Fitch warned that high interest costs, weak revenue performance, and limited fiscal space remain significant concerns. We head to some international news. Dozens of Nigerians remain behind bars in Ethiopia's efforts to repatriate them stall following delays in finalizing a crucial memorandum of understanding between both countries. The agreement, which would allow convicted Nigerians to serve the remainder of their sentences at home, has yet to be ratified by the European government. despite repeated diplomatic engagements and mounting pressure from civil society groups. Speaking on the matter, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu, said the delay is not from the Nigerian side, adding that the ministry has fulfilled its own side of the formalities for the transfer of sentenced persons MOU. The ministry also said in 2023 that more than 270 Nigerians were serving various prison terms in Ethiopia, mostly for drug-related offenses, while families and advocacy groups have continued to raise alarm over the poor conditions in detention. President General of the My Dream Alive Development Foundation, Ambassador Onwuka Collins, condemned the situation last week, describing the conditions in the prison as deplorable. We head to Brazil, where it has condemned Israel after the Israeli Navy intercepted a flotilla carrying amid to Gaza with several Brazilian nationals on board, including the lawmaker. The global summoned flotilla, involving around 45 vessels carrying politicians and activists, left Spain last month, aiming to break Israel's blockade of the Palestinian territory, where the United Nations says famine has set in after nearly 2 years of war. Israeli forces stopped more than a dozen boats as they were sailing through the Mediterranean Sea in international waters, while Brazil deplores the Israeli government's military action, which violates rights and endangers the physical well-being of the peaceful protesters. Brasilia is one of many governments worldwide that have called on Israel to remove restrictions on humanitarian aid allowed to enter the Gaza Strip, and President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has repeatedly denounced what he calls an Israeli genocide against Palestinians in the war, which has sparked by an October 2023 attack on itself by Palestinian militant group Hamas. Istanbul Chief Prosecutor's Office has opened an investigation after Israeli forces arrested Turkish citizens on board a Gaza-bound flotilla carrying activists and humanitarian aid. The probe concerns 24 Turkish citizens arrested following the attack carried out by elements of the Israeli Navy in international waters against the global summoned flotilla. A statement said the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea and said it would look into crimes of deprivation of liberty as well as hijacking or detention of means of transport which aggravated looting, material damage and torture. Turkish media said 30 Turkish citizens in all were arrested by and taken by Israeli forces for deportation to Europe, adding that it would continue its journey towards the Palestinian territory despite the interceptions. We head to some sports reports. Real Madrid forward Kylian Mbappe has surpassed Cristiano Ronaldo's Champions League record after scoring a hat-trick for Real Madrid against Kirat in midweek. The France captain opened the scoring for Real Madrid in the 25th minute from the spot after teammate Franco Mastratuno was fouled in the box, and the 26-year-old then doubled his tally in the second half and completed his hat-trick in the 73rd minute of the encounter. Mbappe's 3 goals against Kairat mean the former Paris Saint-Germain star has now joined an exclusive group of 6 players who have scored 60 goals or more in Champions League history. And Mbappe needed only 89 games to reach the 60-goal milestone, while it took Ronaldo 96 games to reach the number. The former Monaco attacker, however, is only behind the likes of Messi and Robert Lewandowski, who achieved the 60-goal mark in 80 and 85 games, respectively. We take some entertainment report. Popular Nigerian music video director Tengod Omori, aka TJ Omori, says he has decided to practice celibacy, adding that since he became celibate, half of his problems became solved. On his X handle, he claimed with mixed reactions, some doubting what, while others expressed a desire to practice celibacy to enjoy the alleged benefits. This is coming after singer Tiwa Savage recently disclosed that she has been celibate for 3 years and her celibacy was due to singleness, stressing that she doesn't get the urge for sex except when in a romantic relationship. And that's the size of the package. Thanks for joining us. I'm Otaria Benjamin. Remember, you can connect us on all our social media platforms. On X, we are on Atlantic TV Net. On Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network. We are on Instagram on Atlantic TV Network 1. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you so much for watching. Stay with us. Up next is Society Watch.